everybody. Thanks for joining me. I'm Selena Roane, your host of Close to Death from Fear Paranormal. Tonight we have a really special guest that's got a huge announcement. The spiritual warrior, as they call him, Chris Deadman. You on with us, Chris?
I'm here.
All right. You're driving back. Are you driving back? Phenomenon?
No, I get to stay. I get to stay an extra night.
Oh, sweet.
So
sweet.
Yeah. So we are live from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh my God.
The most haunted town in America.
Yes, and on my bucket list are the top 5 places, and I have not been yet. So that is a goal.
Oh, good Lord.
I know it's right.
You got to get out here.
I know. Everybody that I've talked to said that place is no joke. That everywhere you go is all about hauntings. So I'm all about that.
Oh yeah, they definitely are capitalizing on how things are haunted here. That is for sure.
I'm sure of it. I was reading on your bio and trying to figure out a little bit about what got you started, and it was pretty plain to see that the near-death experience at 12 years old was pretty much a turning point for you. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was basically what had happened. I had spent the summer in Florida visiting family, and on the way back we had stopped in Tennessee and picked up a few fireworks and stuff to set off. Of course, back then they were illegal in Kentucky. You couldn't buy them in Kentucky, so you know that's kind of like what everybody did. Was you went as you came back through, you stopped and filled up. And we had been lighting fireworks off at a family member's house, and I had this thing that was called a Roman candle, and it was about the size of a tennis can, and it had a short fuse on it. And when we lit it, the short fuse went. It just happened so quick that it shot off. It lost consciousness or lost its balance, and when it did, it slipped and it shot me right in the forehead, basically. And it missed my left eye by like half an inch, basically. So I had a quarter-size hole in the size of my head and third-degree burns from the middle of my head all the way down to underneath my chin. My eyelids had melted together, and when it first happened, I grabbed my face, and when I did, I was like, I'm okay. And I guess the adrenaline was just, at this point, was kicking in, and I felt like, I was okay, just, had an accident. And then I kind of realized the pain started setting in. And as the pain set in, kind of went into shock a little bit, and they called 911 and the ambulance and stuff. And when the firefighters and stuff got there, they, there's a whole group of 8th grade kids that just walked in. So if you're hearing all that noise in the background, that's what it is. There's a little cookie cart in the juice stand sitting out in front of me here, so I'm probably not in the best location. But so they when they got me into the ambulance to get to the hospital, I coded, and immediately I was now sitting at the back of the ambulance watching the paramedics work on me. And I saw things that I shouldn't have been able to see, especially because my eyelids were melted shut. And I watched them vigorously try to bring me back, and eventually they did. What I've been told, and the way I understand it is basically because of the out-of-body experience, I'm kind of like a beacon or a magnet for the spirit world, because they all, know I've crossed over. I've kind of been, in their world, to say. And I noticed when I got into doing, heavy paranormal investigating and stuff with the team that I became a member of, that it didn't matter where we were, where we went. If something happened, it was always happening around me. And at first, I wouldn't say anything at all. I kept it to myself because I didn't want the team to think that I was, trying to draw attention, or who's this new guy that's all how ironic, something's always happening, and eventually I did talk to the leader of the group and told him what was going on, and he was like, no, it makes complete sense why it happened. You've crossed over. And I've talked to people like Chip Coffey and Deb Lance and Scotty Rourke and stuff, and they said the same thing. You're basically, they know that you've been there, and you're kind of like Motel 6. You've left the light on, and they all want to come talk to you,
That sounds like something Chip would even say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's great.
So that kind of started things, and then when I was 15, I was here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, filming the movie actually called Gettysburg. I lived here for 2 months, and we had gone into the battlefield right at dark, and of course, now don't do that now. It's you can't be in the the park after dark. It is a federal offense. You will be arrested. They will take you to jail thanks to 9/11. But at that time, they were lenient. Back then they didn't. They weren't hard on you or whatever. And we were walking across the area, what we call Pickett's Charge, and the fog rolled in, and a whole unit of Confederate soldiers walked out of the fog, and I was hooked. I was ready to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I saw, I didn't see a soldier, but I saw my best friend's doppelganger. Like 2 days before he went in the hospital, he had stage 4 lung cancer. And I mean, it was a full apparition. I swore it was him at my door, but he had never been down to my bedroom, so he couldn't even walk because he only had 1/8 of a lung. It was not him. When I went chasing after it, it was gone. And I swear on any kind of anything that it was him standing at my door, but it was him in spirit form. So, that'll definitely propel you into wanting to know what in the world was that and how did that happen? How did I see that? I can understand that. Gettysburg, I started watching the ghost shows and stuff when Ghost Lab was on, and I saw Brad Kling's video of the whole entire troop coming across there playing drums with their flags and all that, and I was just like, what? He said it was there, and then the next minute, 30 seconds later, it was just gone.
And what is funny is we both basically, that's the same experience we both experienced and had not even talked to each other. Didn't even know that we both experienced that until, we were in I think I had them on my radio show and that I used to do, and we got talking about it, and we figured out that we had basically, had the same experience in 2 different places, basically, at the battlefield.
Yeah, and that's what I can't wait for. I have so many places in Gettysburg that I want to go check out or around Gettysburg. It always helps that I'm a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, so there's another excuse to come up there anyway. But so while I've been here, I come to Phenomenology. This year they changed it to Phenomicon. I've been here 5 years now. So I've been able to investigate some great places, being a part of the event. We've done General Lee's headquarters, the orphanage, which was featured on GAC. I've done the Jenny Wade House, which was featured on GAC. We've done parts of the outer skirt parts of the battlefield, the Eisenhower House. So I've gotten lucky and been able to do some locations, here in the town of Gettysburg that normally wouldn't be able to. And we've had, interesting things that happen. Of course, you're doing it in a large group, so it's really hard to get through evidence that's not contaminated and stuff. But I do something really cool when I do investigations, because I try to, my thing is I want to try to give people bang for the buck, and kind of
have them where they at least have the chance of maybe experiencing something. And what I do is I call it the minute 30-second EVP session. And what I do is I get everybody to sit in a circle or get in a circle. And I do a 1 minute, 30-second EVP session. And before I do that, I tell everybody, all right, if you've got a cough, you've got a sneeze, you feel like you need to itch your back, whatever it is, do it right now. Get it out of your system. Because when I say go and I start this EVP session, I don't want anybody making a noise.
Right.
And for a minute and 30 seconds, I do an EVP section. And then what I do is I play it back to see if we actually caught something during that time. And it has worked out phenomenal. The experiences have been awesome. I've gotten great evidence doing it that way. I've also allowed people that, do go and do these investigations to actually hear something that we've caught. And it doesn't work every time, but the results have been pretty good. And,
right.
And it gives people kind of that, justification that, they were a part of something. And there was one time what I'll do is once after I do it, then I do it again, and I have everybody ask a question in the circle because spirits will respond differently to different people. And we were at the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, and we were doing this EVP session, and I told anybody, I said, if you don't feel comfortable enough or you don't know what to ask, just say skip. And then the next person will know to pause for a minute and then ask their question. So I kicked it off, asked my question, the person next to me asked their question, and the third person asked their, when it came to the third person, they said skip. And when they said skip, right after that, this woman or this child laughs. It's almost like they're laughing at him, like, you're big chicken, you're too scared to ask the question. And it was really funny because when we went back and listened to that session, we caught it. We caught whatever it was, and it literally was like it was laughing at this person because they didn't want to ask a question or whatever.
Wow.
And of course the group got a big kick out of it because not only was it an EVP that we caught that was very clear what it was, but the fact that it was responding to what this person didn't want to do, basically. And so that made it pretty neat. And, I've done some other experiments with it. We were in Iowa last July, and we did a school there that's haunted, and nobody had done any kind of really triggering with the school as far as like what I did is I had two recordings. A recording of a school bell, an old school bell that would ring,
right.
And then I had recordings of children actually changing classes in the hallway. So what I did was I rang the bell, then I played the noise of the children, and then we did the EVP. I went right into the EVP session, and we got phenomenal results. And not only that, but I don't know, back when, this is to take some people back here, but back when you were in school, a lot of times you either had the single locker, you had two double lockers, top and a lower one.
Right.
And a lot of times when you walked down the hallway, you would smack the lock on the locker, and it would swing back and forth. Well, right in the middle, we're doing this EVP session. We're in this hallway that does have lockers, but none of them have locks on them, and most of them were actually open. And we caught, everybody heard it with their own ears. That's what sounded like somebody taking a lock on a locker and flipping it as they were walking down the hallway. It was so it was really cool, that came out the way that it did,
Wow, that is nuts. And I see that you and Debbie and Mark Constantino are going to be up there with Johnny Hauser at Villisca in August. That should be an interesting investigation because that place is no joke.
I was actually, that's where I filmed the Ghost Adventures episode.
Yep, I saw it.
And I had not listened to some people who were telling me some things I needed to do after working on a case where a girl was possessed by a demonic entity. And when you do that, you become marked. And I kind of didn't heed to the warnings, and we go in there in this house, which is very negative. It's one of the most horrific unsolved murders in American history.
Yes, it
6
is.
children, 2 adults, and they were killed by an axe, and not just killed by an axe, they were killed by the blunt end of the axe, not the sharp end. And so there's a lot of negativity there, and we're doing a ghost box session, and sure enough, the demon that I dealt with in the other case comes through the spirit box, and I end up getting attacked. So this will actually be the first time I've been back to officially investigate. I've been back to visit Johnny, who's a good friend, who's one of my best friends who lives next door, but I stayed away from the house. And then finally, so this is going to be kind of like my return of facing my fears in a sense, I guess, and an opportunity to work with the Constantinos and meet people. And I don't get out west very much, so I have a lot of fans out there, and it gives them an opportunity to come hang out in a more intimate setting and learn about the history, and we've got some really cool things planned. It's not just another ghost hunt or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be very, very awesome, very educational.
Well, yeah, Debbie and Mark were on my show last month, and they capture some really, really cool EVPs. And that should be an extremely cool event, because we actually went up there, me and the co-founder of my team, Penny, went up there to Villisca, and I'm an empath, and she has sort of mediumship abilities. She can see things and things that I can't, and I can feel things that she can't really feel. So as we work together, it works out really well. But when we were there, it was, you can feel the heaviness the minute you walk in. And I feel those poor children are stuck. I mean, they're kind of not stuck there, but they're kept there by another entity that we kind of were dealing with while we were there, and he was not a very nice entity. We did have lots of activity or actual communication with the children, which was really cool. But that place is one place that I definitely want to go back to. It is horrific. I got kind of mad. My empath kind of took over, and I kind of got the mama bear type thing going on, where I wanted to really whoop his butt for what he did. I had no idea why someone would do something so horrific to children and even people, period. But 6 innocent kids, it just really went all over me. So
yeah.
It really, it does. It made me so sad just to be in there, because knowing those poor children, they didn't even have a fighting chance. And 2 of them were just there on a really bad night to have an overnight stay. You know what I'm saying? Just bad timing for them. And it is a horrific story, and I wish to God that it could be solved, but more than likely whoever did do it is already gone. And, but it would be nice to know exactly who did it, and we'll never know why, but it could make a little bit of sense. So I see that also you got to work on Chip and I are also really, really good friends, and the Paranormal State episode that you did with Chip and all them when they were working with the IM6, I got chills just now. There's so many different feelings about the client there that had the actual possession or oppression or whatever it was. It was crazy. What were your thoughts about that whole thing?
Well, I was actually the original investigator that brought in Paranormal State to help the family.
Okay.
That's also the first time that I met Chip Coffey.
Yeah.
I had worked with the family for several months. I had done everything that I physically knew what to do. This was the first time that I'd ever dealt with a case like this. I wasn't sure, what to do. So I started reaching out to the community, and there really wasn't a lot of people that, you know, that I knew at the time. So I was kind of like a needle in a haystack, and you know, it was hard at first. You know, you know, when you're getting a phone call from a mother at 3:00 in the morning telling you that that their daughter has having things burned into their skin, and they're screaming at the top of their lungs, and you can hear it in the background, and there's nothing you can do. You feel so helpless. You know, the church had turned their back on this family. They had reached out to many teams, many different organizations that turned their backs on this family. And we were 8 hours away, one way, from this family, and they had found us through the TAPS family website. We were one of only two, teams that were a part of the TAPS family at that time, in the entire state of Kentucky. So, they had saw that, and what had captured their attention was basically we were a team that was out to help people no matter what it was. It wasn't about, you know, the ghost part. It was just about helping families and helping individuals. And because of that, they reached out to us, and the application they filled out and sent back to us, it was kind of like reading the script of The Exorcist. There was, you know, minus the pea soup and a few other things, but it was definitely, there was something nasty going on in this home. But even with that, we went into it not looking at it as being demonic. We went into it as, you know, it was probably malevolent. There was something else there. We went in, we researched. We went to the Historical Society. We went to the library. We went to the cemetery where the original family was buried that lived in the home. It was built by a German immigrant who did a lot of construction. He owned a brick company, so a lot of the structures within the town were built by his product. We know that during the building of one of the churches, there was a issue of construction that ended up killing some people. The wife had died in the home unexpectedly, so that raised some questions. And then also we know that one of his daughters, lived with the dad into her early 30s. Which was odd, because back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, that's where the term old maid came from. If you weren't married by then, you were considered an old maid. And we found it alarming that, you know, here he was, why was she there? Or, you know, what hold did he have on her, you know, to have not gotten married and gone on with her life. So our thought was, well, maybe this dad was actually, attacking the now current resident, and because maybe she appeared to represent his daughter. And so we didn't even look at it in the demonic realm at all. It was, an angry spirit more so. And once we did our first investigation and got home and started going through the evidence, well, we actually started going through our EVP, our digital recorders, before we even were 10 minutes from the home. It was an 8-hour drive home, so some of the investigators started reviewing evidence, and 15 minutes into the drive, we got the first EVP that said, the bee is mine, you won't have her, get the F out, basically. And through the entire evening, we picked up over 227 Class A EVPs. This thing was very nasty. It did not want us in the home. It did not want us there. It threatened us. It lashed out at us. And of course, we're not seeing any of this. This is just what our equipment is picking up.
Yeah.
And we were kind of wrapping things up towards the end, and they had a cat that they tried to keep out of the basement because there were some things that had mysteriously happened to it when it went down there. And, of course, the cat takes off running down the basement, and the young girl goes down after it. And I'm thinking, hello, somebody, I was manning the DVR, and I couldn't, really leave at that point, and there was nobody around, and I'm like, what do you, I need some, but I can't, can somebody, hello, and
yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and we had cameras set up there, so I said, well, I'll watch through the cameras, and at least, she's not completely alone. So she goes down in the basement. Of course, it's dark, and she's looking for the cat. And she goes out of frame, and then she goes around a corner, and she comes back into frame. And when she comes back into frame, something literally picks her up and slams her to the ground on her back. And this wasn't a trip fall. If she would have tripped and fell, she would have fell forward, first of all. This physically lifted her and slammed her to the ground. At that point, I hollered and said, she's hurt. She's down in the basement, and took off running towards the basement. And then, of course, the others that were in the other rooms come flying down behind me. And by the time I reached her, she was finally grasping for air because it had literally knocked the breath out of her. And so we knew at that point, okay, something's not adding up here. Something's not right. Through our evidence, like I said, we picked up all the EVPs. We also picked up a dark mass that I saw with my own eyes. But I wasn't sure if it was lighting playing tricks on my eyes. But once we saw it on camera, it made sense that I was actually seeing this thing. As we started doing the blessing, we started in the basement, and basically we chased this thing out of the basement, and we caught it on tape. A lot of people base their opinions about what happened there and what didn't happen there off of the show. Nobody really knows the truth because we were the ones that were there, and out of the ones that were there the most, I was the one that took more control and care of the family, because after that investigation, 2 weeks later, our lead investigator, who was also the owner of the team, who started the team, had been married 16 years, and when he came home, his wife said, I can't do this no more, we need to get a divorce, out of the blue. Another investigator, the day we got back from that investigation, went to UK because she wasn't feeling well, and ended up having the worst case of shingles that they had ever seen, and spent 2 weeks in ICU. Another investigator that was there with us, who did most of the questioning with the young lady, was on the way to another investigation a couple of weeks later, and she was ran off the road by an unforeseen force into a wood plank fence that penetrated her windshield and missed her face by 1/10 of an inch. Another investigator was a scientist. He kind of looked at things from the scientific side of things. So whatever this force was, it obviously could not come at it through a spiritual way. So what things would start happening was he would find himself in the kitchen, and he would be like holding a knife, cutting something, and something in his head would start telling him to take that knife and to stab himself with it, and to harm his wife. And so everybody that was a part of that case was very well affected by what was in the house. And not just us, but the film crew. There was a lot of the crew that left after that season left because of that case and the stress that was put on them because of that case. So, it wasn't, what I tell people is your haters are going to hate, and if you weren't there and you weren't involved, then basically, keep your pie hole shut because you don't know what you're talking about.
Right. And the thing that people are saying, I mean, is they're not saying anything bad at all. They're saying, oh my God, how strong could that demon have been, or whatever was possessing her, the entity, to do things like that, and it just kept coming. So there were questions of, did the girl just want this? Did she not want to let go of this?
Eventually, well, when the first episode of I Am Sick, she did. They did Father Andrew Calder did the exorcism on her. Now keep in mind, a lot of that wasn't supposed to be shown, but it was. Father Calder never did anything again on the show. It was a clear day, sun was out, the skies were blue, not a weather situation at all, and about 30, 45 minutes prior to the exorcism starting, the clouds turned pitch black, the wind started blowing, car alarms started going off up and down the street. It was like a war zone, like hell was just about to break loose, and it was. It is exactly what was getting ready to happen. And eventually the exorcism went on all day up into the late evening, and he was able to finally remove the demon from her, and get it out of her. Now, unfortunately, 6 months later, it was invited back in. And Chip, the way Chip explains it, it's called what they say it's a perfect possession. And what that means is it's wrong, but in your mind and in your thoughts, the attention and what you get from it is what causes you to invite it back in.
Right.
You have a girl from a small town that didn't have a lot of friends and stuff, and it really turned their backs on her because she was going through this stuff, which was completely wrong. When she needed people the most, they weren't there.
Right.
And then here comes the Calvary. You've got producers and cameras and TV stars and stuff that are hanging out in your house, and now all of a sudden you're the center of attention, and then all of a sudden it goes away. It's not there no more.
Right. Becomes your identity.
What better way to get it back but to kind of start dabbling into what brought it there the first time. And
what she said is it became her identity almost. Yeah,
absolutely. And luckily this time though it was caught before it had gotten to any of the stage it was before. And Ryan picked it up, and Chad Calic, who was working with him, picked it up, and I was there. I was both times of filming. I was there on site. The first episode we were actually filmed for, but because of everything that happened, we got cut. But they came back and did a special episode about teams that help out and have helped them with cases and stuff. And we were premiered in that episode, but it. They pretty much told her, look, this is it. We're going to bring somebody in. We're going to get rid of it, but we're not coming back. We're not going to keep doing this.
Right.
And Father Bob Bailey came in and did a blessing and a cleansing, on the home, and, casted out whatever was trying to get out. And, finally, that did it. It was what it was. She ended up getting involved in the church, and, started living her life as normal as possible. But it's a battle she's going to always struggle with. It's always going to be there. Once you're marked, you're marked. And that goes both ways. She was marked because she was a victim. I'm marked because I brought in the Calvary to get rid of what this thing was. And so now I'm identified as a warrior, and their concept is they want to destroy man because you are made in the image of God. That's the devil's purpose. And here I am bringing in all these people to get rid of not just a demon, but legion, which is many. I always tell everybody, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it big. So,
that's our thing too. Go big or go home.
I couldn't just go up against a regular demon. I had to go up against the big dog.
Hell yeah.
After that case, people had told me that, I need to make sure that I protect myself and wear blessed metals and make sure that my home's protected and stuff. And the whole concept behind that case was, I was at a point in my life where I was struggling with God and who He was, and I had asked in November of 2007 to prove to me that you were real, prove to me that you exist, who you are, show me, give me something. And at that exact moment, 8 hours away in a little town, a young lady started doing EVP sessions and became overly attracted to those and excessively doing them, which opened up a gate to let in something that was demonic. And so then, out of all the teams and all the people that they contacted, everybody turned them away, and then he finds us, who doesn't turn her away. So we go, and then come to find out that there is a demonic entity. So what better way to show someone what God can do to fix things, but to show them evil first and how God can fix that. And of course, at the time I didn't see it that way. I didn't put two and two together until later on, when I sat back and looked at everything that had happened and how it affected my life and the things that it had done, and it really opened my eyes. And when I do my lecture, I don't test my religion on anybody. I say, look, you are who you are. I am who I am. I can just tell you my story through my beliefs and what I've done. And I tell them, whoever you worship or whoever you pray to, that's what you do. But extra little things can't hurt either. You may not believe in God, but if you had a St. Benedict medal that could protect you from something, why not wear it? What's it gonna hurt, in a sense,
right.
And when you kind of approach people in that manner, it kind of brings their guard down, and then they want to learn more, and they want to be educated, and they want to see, so it is what it is. But, going into that case, I completely had lost my faith in religion and my belief system, because my grandfather had died of cancer, and it completely tore my heart out to see him suffer and die by such a nasty disease. And I was angry. I was very angry the way he was taken.
Know that feeling. We have a question in the chat room. They want to know, do you think that people are screaming demon too quick these days? Because I know I do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a demon in their house. Everybody.
Yeah. Or 66 of them, or, however many. I mean, it's crazy.
Send me your money and I'll put a demon in your house. $19.99. Yeah. Way too much.
Yeah.
Way too many people crying demon. Way too many people claiming to be demonologists.
Right.
That's the next big phase. Myself, I have talked to Zach Bagans several times. Bishop Long, who I am mentoring under, has talked to Zach Bagans about the provoking and the aggression that he puts into things. And, time to them is not time to us. And what they do is they sit and wait for that perfect time, that time when you've lost your job or you've lost a loved one or something bad's going on in your life, and then that's when they attack. And when they attack full force. And so all they're doing is they're letting you do what you want to do, and it's like, you might have went into that haunted location, and you might have, provoked it and yelled and screamed at it, and nothing happened. But remember that time when you got real sick and blah blah blah, and you thought you were losing everything. Those are the times that they come around.
Yeah,
and it's not a game. 80% of the cases that I have nowadays or that I'm getting calls for are because these teens who think they are, demonologists, or they think whatever, are going into these homes. They're doing minimum investigating, and they're telling these people, oh, by the way, you have a demon in your house. Have a good night. Bye-bye. And they're leaving. Or they're going in, and the first thing that goes boo, they're running out the front door with their tail between their legs, again, leaving the family holding their bag. So it's, they're causing harm. They're doing no good.
No. I know that feeling because you cleaned up a couple messes from teams that do that and that go in there and stir crap up, and then they don't know how to cleanse it, or if they're not, capable of doing it. I have a group of people that I call, like Richard Contreras, if I need something, like help with something or anything like that. I call someone who I can trust, or if I have some other thing that I need, I'll always go to my group of people that I use. I never try. If I can't handle it, I'm going to tell you, look, we are not equipped to handle that type of case, and let me get you to somebody who can, because I'm not, our team isn't about doing all that. We just don't. We just, if we can't handle it, we pass it to somebody who can. And demons are something that we haven't really dealt with because, like, we said, not every freaking thing that happens is demonic. Some spirits just want to be, heard, and they're not mean or whatever. It's just, people just always jump to that. But we got like everybody wanting to know what your huge announcement is. So I've kind of made everybody wait till the last 15 minutes of the show. So why don't you tell us what that huge announcement is, please?
Well, my huge announcement is that I have been accepted by the Old Catholic Church, and I will be joining the seminary starting Tuesday to become a deacon and then eventually a priest under the Old Catholic Church through Bishop James Long. Basically, I've come full circle. I went from fighting and condemning God and not believing to completely believing and understanding and wanting to help families deal with things like this. But not only that, but just share the gospel and the word and spread the word of God and what He can do, just in general manner. Minus the paranormal alone, that's just a small piece of the bigger picture. And it's a calling. It's something that I believe that I have been. I've tried to fight it, and I've tried to block it away, and he keeps telling me, no, this is what you're supposed to do. Talking about the man above. Talking about the man above. He keeps pulling me back, and it's just something that I feel is right. It's in my heart, and that's the thing about this is that being a demonologist or being a part of the clergy or whatever, it's a calling. It's not something that you don't pay $19.99 to do it. It's you have to want to put the dedication into it. You've got to understand it. You've got to realize what you're doing, and it's more and beyond the paranormal. It's living that life and sharing the word and the gospel and explaining to people why God did what He did and how He protects us and there is evil, there is darker side to things. It's yin and yang, and being in this field and the calls and the emails and the things that I get, they're not always paranormal related. They're just right. I get requests daily for people that just say, hey, look, my sister's in the hospital with stage 3 cancer and she's not doing good. Can you please just say a prayer for her? It's amazing that people come to me like that. They feel that I can, they feel that positive energy, and they feel that, the gratification of me doing that for them, which I do. I pray for a lot of people every night, and there's probably people out there that don't even know that I pray for them, but, that's just what I do. So, the huge announcement is that, I'm stepping away more from the paranormal side and focusing completely on the spiritual side. And that's, I'm already a member of the Paranormal Clergy, which is ran by Bishop Long. So we reach out to help teams and other people. So it's just, it felt right. It was time for me to take the next step. I tell people, be careful what you wish for, because it can come back and bite you in the butt sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, everything happens for a reason. God has shown me his way. He's shown me what he can do. And he, not only that, he has shown me that I need to be a part of more than just a follower. I need to be a leader and help other people understand his word and help people deal with situations. So I'm very excited. It's not something that every day you get accepted into such an awesome establishment and have someone, with the lineage of people that can track all the way back to Rome, to the Pope, of training. So it's kind of like, I guess the best way to describe it in English is kind of like a bloodline of an animal or something. When you're looking for that perfect dog or that show dog or whatever, people track the bloodline, and that's probably not the best way to describe it, but it's my teachings will come from a line of teachers that go all the way back, to great bishops and leaders that have come before me. So I'm very excited to have that opportunity and to be a part of that.
That's amazing. You're getting a lot of love in the chat room. Let me tell you, there's lots of congratulations. God blessing you. They just all are happy that you found your calling, and they think it's pretty awesome, everybody says. So Bishop Long, tell me a little bit about him. I have watched him do his thing on Ghost Adventures and other shows, and I kind of follow him on Facebook and stuff. Tell me a little bit about him and what it's like to study under him.
He's a phenomenal man, but he's to the point. He, when we talked about me becoming a part of the seminary, he's like, I love you to death. You're a great friend, but I'm going to push you to your limits, and you need to realize that. It's the same training that he took vigorously through his training through the seminaries and the colleges and stuff is exactly the same courses that I'll be taking. And he said, I'm gonna push you. I'm gonna, there's not gonna be, no easy way out, and Father David, who works with him, is gonna be my spiritual advisor, and he told me, he said he's gonna do the same thing spiritually. He's gonna push you. And a lot of people don't understand that he is very a very busy man. It's he's not just the paranormal. He runs a church full time. He has the community that he does stuff in. He works very close with a lot of the local hospitals when tragic things happen. He goes in and consults families, and so he is being pulled in 20,000 million directions at any given time. And I look up to him. He's a hero in my eyes. I love the work that he does on the larger scale. Not looking at it on the paranormal end. And to be able to be a part of that family and to get the education that I'm going to be getting through him is priceless. You can't put a dollar on that. And He's just a phenomenal person, and he needs help. He needs people like that have the calling and that want to do it, and because he is only one person, and I'm just happy that I'm going to be able to do that, not only for him but for God and through him.
Well, that's awesome, and congratulations. I'm so glad that you got to share it with my audience. Can you tell them a little bit about any of the upcoming events, because we're running out kind of low on time? Can you tell them about anything that you're going to be appearing at, so that they can come and check you out?
Well, actually, in Louisville, I'm going to be there. Bush Long and the Spiritual Network is putting on an event in May. They're in Louisville, Kentucky, the 23rd through the 25th. It's the Spiritual Expo. And it's spirituality from all over. It's not just one genre. It's different aspects and different things. It's kind of the first of its kind, in a sense, where people can come together and just learn and educate each other about other different venues and values, of spirituality, which I think is awesome, because that's what I want to do. I don't want to just keep, concentrate on one type of religion. I want to learn a lot about all the other different religions, because you deal with people from different religions.
Right.
So that's going to be a really cool expo. Of course, Scarefest in my hometown of Lexington, Kentucky, which is the largest paranormal horror convention in September. We'll be back there. We've got also, we're doing a big fundraiser, the Mid-Ohio South convention at Old Posttown Elementary. That's to raise money for Keith Age, who suffered from a heart attack a few months back. So we're doing a huge, big event for him to help raise money for his medical bills and continuous care. But really, the big one is going to be in October. We're doing a paranormal cruise. It's phenomenal. It's like $400, 5 days, all inclusive, all your food, your drinks. We're going to Mexico. We're going, we're going to the Mayan temples and everything. Spend 2 days in New Orleans investigating haunted locations there, and then we get on the boat and we head out for 5 days. And you can't beat the price. But to find out where all this stuff is going on, you can go to my website, which is www.ChrisDeadman.com, and click on my events tab, and you can find out all the events that are booked. This year it's called the Demons in Possession Tour, and you can find out everything that's going on. Also, the link to the Paranormal Clergy is there. If you would like to learn more about the clergy and what we're doing, you can also do that there. And then you can link to my Facebook and all that also.
Well, man, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your, I know you're exhausted, and so are we, but I appreciate you being on my show, and congratulations, and God bless you, and hope to meet you soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. You go get you some rest.
Allow me to make my announcement.
Thank you so much. You have a good one, and have a good rest.
You too. Thank you, and God bless.
All right. God bless you. All right. That was awesome, man. That was a cool announcement. We got done with HHL. Let me just say that I appreciate everyone that came out to support Fear, and for my first speaking engagement, I really appreciate my friends, Eric and Kim. You're awesome, as always. The next event we have is Tyler Paracon, which is going to be April 26th at the Tyler Convention Center. You can look it on Fear Facebook page, and all the information for that will be on there. And then May 17th, we have Granbury Paranormal Expo. I'm speaking there too. I'm not going to be as nervous this time, so it should be pretty cool. And then in June, on the 27th, I'll be in New Orleans at the Andrew Jackson Hotel with the guys from Deep South Paranormal and Paranormal Society in New Orleans. My buddy Chris Deadman.Chris He has got that. We got about probably 6 tickets left, so get them. They are awesome. It's going to be an awesome, awesome event. Thank you to my sponsors, Syntex Roof Systems, Flanagan's Party Barn in Waxahachie, Able Towing in Dallas, and the Nala Ghost Tours, which my friend Chris and Kevin Betzer, they put together a tour company, and you can call them up, check them out on Facebook, and they will hook you up with a good tour down probably the Jumani Lounge, which is one of the most active places down in New Orleans. Next week, I have Scott Grinwald, Mr. Crazy Man, Parahorror. So please tune in next Sunday. And thanks for joining. Peace out.